Ann Belfort Ulanov prófessor í geðlæknis og trúarbragðafræðum við Union Theological Society í New York. Hún hefur líka skrifað fjölda bókum og auk þess psykoanalisti eða sálkönnuður í New York og starfar sem slík. Hún hefur fjallað dálítið mikið áföll, samfélög sem verða fyrir áföllum eins og til dæmis Bandaríkin urðu fyrir eftir árásirnar 11. september 2001. Welcome to this program, and I would, of course, like to talk to you about this Icelandic situation. You're a guest in Iceland, and in Iceland there has been an economic crisis. It's been hit very heavily by an economic crisis, and there is a great sense of betrayal in the society. How, in your mind, as a psychoanalyst, as a writer of books, should we deal with this?
Betrayal's awful. You feel wounded. You feel someone has done something to you that has damaged you, not just in the moment, but for a time to come. So one must acknowledge it. So if you're thinking of the economic situation and the economy collapsing, then the government would need to acknowledge that its citizens feel betrayed, let down, disappointed, hurt. Without that, it's very hard to get a starting point to build again.
We also are experiencing a lack of trust in all these institutions that seem to have failed the politicians. Of course, the banks and the regulators.
Yes. We have the same in America, and it makes one feel frightened, resourceless. Who can you trust? What do you need to live? I think the first thing has to be a collective recognition. Something terrible has happened, and it isn't as if lightning has struck. It's happened for specific reasons. But to acknowledge what people experience, what they feel, that's the first step.
So, what do we need? Do we need the truth?
We need to say we're in a mess, and we made some wrong choices, and you were paying for it. And depending on who's talking, somebody has to say, not just mistakes were made, but specifically, I made a mistake, or in this policy we made a mistake, so that it's really acknowledged and recognized that something has happened. It's not nothing, it's not trivial to be without a job, or to lose your bank account, or to be having your retirement fund suddenly cut in half.
But it's, in a way, I think the general perception in Iceland is that nobody is really saying they're sorry. Nobody is.
Yes, and that's
people are evading responsibility a lot.
Well, that's human too. Adam said Eve did it, and Eve said the snake did it, and the theologian said God did it. But still, you have to acknowledge it, or it doesn't. The trust in the government won't come back.
Yeah.
And this isn't accusation so much as recognition. Otherwise, people feel they're still being told blather. They're still being told, well, time will solve it. It won't. Not that wound part.
But I think society here has been going through certain stages. There has been a lot of anger. There's been a lot of frustration. We have not yet entered the stage of apathy, which I think would be maybe the worst thing for us.
It could be, because then it goes underground. It goes in the basement.
Yes.
And then the next incident of something, it's all going to come up again.
So is anger preferable to apathy?
I think so, yes, because anger's related. I'm mad at you because you did something to me, versus I don't care what you think or what happens to me. You're reachable if you're angry.
But how do, sort of in a practical way, how do governments deal with these kind of negative sentiments? I think we must elaborate a bit on that.
Well, I think they say what the situation is truly. Are the banks bankrupt? Are they all right now? Has the government backed them? Does this mean you're going to be paying extra taxes for 25 years? What are exactly the facts, if they're known? And if they're not known, that needs to be said. So first, just some brush clearing. And then I think if it's clear what some of the mistakes were, those need to be named. And then I think some recognition of the fear and the anger and the feeling of betrayal in some kind of collective way. But to have a leader of a government or leading ministers say something publicly goes a long way, if they'll do it.
But should we in any way indulge in people's lust for, say, revenge?
You want to limit it. You want not to say just being angry is enough. You want to limit it by saying what it's related to and how to contain it and then build something new. And it might be a group response. There might be something in, I don't know exactly what, because I'm not that familiar with Iceland, but I think of the extraordinary example, and in some ways much worse example, of the Truth and Justice Commission in South Africa. That was a collective effort to face something that was horrendous, and it was collectively accessible to the public. So some sort of group, something might develop.
Yeah, but you also have to be able to trust the justice system, that it will do its work in a proper way, which I don't think anybody, basically nobody in this country trusts, has faith in the system, the way it's been working.
But those are all symptoms of having been betrayed. And maybe, I don't know if it has been acknowledged, but maybe there's symptoms that it has not been acknowledged. A public statement, we are in a mess because...
Yeah, so we in a way we are in, not only in Iceland but in the Western world, we are not only in an economic crisis, we are in a sort of a moral crisis, a crisis of ideas and a moral crisis.
And I think that should be named and said so that people don't think, oh, I'm making too much out of it, or oh, I've given up complete hope, or oh, all governments are ridiculous. To really say, we are at a juncture point. This is serious. Something terrible has happened. We don't know what to do. We have to think together what to do. That all comes under acknowledgement.
And you were here to give some lectures, right?
Yes.
On your subject?
Yes, I just gave one. The title was The Psyche and National Crisis.
Can you tell me a bit about that?
Well, it is what we were just talking about, and it is about the breakdown of patterns we're used to because the economy has gone poof. And not just here, but in America and across Europe and parts of Asia. And I think it suggests that patterns we have believed in are broken, they're bankrupt. And we're at a point where new patterns may be developing in the unconscious, not yet clear, and we don't know what the new patterns are. So that leaves us collectively trying to experiment with new ways of responding. I can give examples in America. We've had the regulation reform and the stimulus package and the attempt to reform the health provisions, and we're not sure these are right, and we argue all the time about them, but it is a way of recognizing that the old way is not the way it's going to be anymore.
But everybody becomes very argumentative in at this. We have found out in Iceland that people are really arguing and shouting, and sometimes it's like a shouting match. More.
Yes, but shouting's better than killing, and shouting's better than stealing and absconding with funds, and shouting is better than just despair maybe leading to suicide. We've had some suicides over this in America. So response is needed, that we're all in this together, and we have to find ways together, collectively, to imagine new patterns. But individually, it's also the case, too, because if you can't retire because your pension is gone, and you have to work until you're dead, and your dream is gone then, how are you going to live with that? Who are you going to blame? What was I living for? What is needed to sustain a good life? Those are the spiritual questions that come up.
Anne, thank you very much for coming on this program.
Thank you very much for having me.